Welcome, guys, into another all-time greats 50 over World Cup episode. Today we've got the undefeated Pakistan taking on Oman in our first game, and we've got then Scotland versus the Netherlands. That will be a cracking game between those two nations. England versus Ireland. Can Ireland do a 2011 World Cup performance against England? We'll find out. UAE Afghanistan. That will be quite an interesting game as well. Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka have been very inconsistent in this competition, but they did get a confidence boosting couple wins in recent times. Australia taking on Zimbabwe. New Zealand versus the West Indies at home, and South Africa take on the juggernauts in India. So let's, without further ado, get to our first game, which is Pakistan versus Oman. Okay, guys, so we have a few changes to the Pakistan side. I want to showcase some different legends from their cricketing one-day history. They're taking on Oman. Oman have been competitive in most games, but ultimately they are the team that is just making up the numbers in this competition. Can they upset Pakistan? Pakistan are unbeaten, but you guys will find out. So the pitch today will be a seamers pitch, because we have a few seamers in the Pakistan lineup. Let's go to their team. So a few changes to the bowling lineup. You'll see a few new faces in there. We've got Mohammad Hafiz and Syed Anwar opening up the batting. Inzamam Ul Haq at 3, Javed Miandad at 4, Zahir Abbas at 5, and captain Muhammad Yusuf at 6. Got Abdul Razak getting a game here, and Imran Khan having a bit of a rest in this one. Wasim Akram and Umar Gul. We'll preview Umar Gul. He was a good cricketer in his time. He's just recently retired. Very respected player. He played 131 day internationals, 179 wickets at 29.35, 2 5-wicket bags in an innings, and reasonably economical for the era of cricket he played in. So decent guy to bring into the team. Syed Ajmal at 10, and Muhammad Sami. Very interesting choice for us here. He took 121 wickets at 29.48, 1 5-wicket bag, but he and Shoaib Akhtar around the same time, 250k express bowlers were there for them around that time. They've had some great fast bowlers over the years, so pretty much providing a seamer wicket will give them some opportunities to get some wickets, Gul and Sami. So we'll go through the Oman team very shortly. So Oman's team, just rotating players a wee bit round for them as well. Masood and Ali will open up. Elias at 3, Gould at 4, Nadeem at 5, and captain. Kaleem at 6, Kumar at 7, Sanuth at 8, Odedra at 9, Kalimullah at 10, and Bayal Khan make out their team. So they've got a few all-rounders in the team. They've brought in a few spinners today. They're going to try and utilise their strength. But without further ado, guys, let's get to the result. So Pakistan win this game very convincingly by 8 wickets. A good showing from them today. Restricted Oman to 195 for 9. Oman, to their credit, batted their 50. But very economical stuff. 2 wickets for Wasim Akram, 2 for Umar Gul, and 2 for Muhammad Sami. 1 wicket apiece for Ajmal, Razak, and Muhammad Hafiz. Kaleem, the mainstay of their innings, 70 off 105 deliveries, 8 boundaries there. And Pakistan restricted them to manageable total. The partnerships, nothing really substantial, really, and yeah, just completely and utterly sort of classy chase from the Pakistan side. Syed Anwar, 63 off 68. Inzamam Ul Haq, 99 not out of 111 deliveries, 14 boundaries, and Javed Miandad, 34 off 28. Very, very polished performance there. Good partnerships throughout. They lost an early wicket, and they were 2 for 1. But yeah, 118 run stand and 77 run stand here. And Pakistan continue on their unbeaten streak. So they go 6 wins in the all-time greats Cricket World Cup. And next game is a very interesting one. Scotland taking on the Netherlands. Both teams have had some reasonable results in the competition. And be very intriguing to see how they go in this particular match. Without further ado, let's get to the two sides. Scotland be looking to get their 4th win of the competition. Same with the Netherlands, actually, but we'll start with the Scotland team. Gavin Hamilton will open up with Kyle Coetzee. Matt McCann at 3, Callum McLeod at 4. So a wee bit of shuffle in the order. Ryan Watson at 5, Preston Momson at 6, Matty Cross at 7. Joshua Davey, Sharif, John Blaine, and Graham Gouldy getting go ahead. So they've got a good seam attack here, the Scots. On what will be a good surface to bat on here in Edinburgh. We'll say they're playing there. Without further ado, guys, let's get the Netherlands team, which has got some interesting changes in it. We've rolled out another legend of Dutch cricket. He's a good player. He only has an average of 10. You're probably thinking, why on earth this guy in the team? But his career says otherwise. 500s and 450s for Nolan Clarke, average of 55.68, high score of 154. Played in the World Cup towards the end of his career when he was in his late 40s, nearly 50 when he played. But you have to pick this guy because I think he does deserve recognition for the career he had for the Netherlands. His strike rate's a wee bit low. His strike rate's 44. But that career alone just tells me he is going to be a class act in this game. Cavazzi opening up with him. We've got Tom Cooper and Ryan ten Doeschate at 3 and 4. Van Noordwijk at 5. Wesley Brazy at 6. Van der Merwe at 7. Stelling, Lefebvre, Bakari and Jonkman make up your lineup. So pretty strong couple of sides here. Let's see who will get the result and more importantly move their way up the table. We had a thrilling game of cricket, but it is Scotland winning this game by 4 wickets. So the Netherlands posted actually a very respectable score of 274 for 9. Off the back of Nolan Clarke, 101 off 115 deliveries, 15 boundaries. And just solid support and partnerships with Cooper, ten Doeschate, and Van Noordwijk. But yeah, very nicely done. A few 50-run partnerships there, and just solid enough partnerships to get them through that score. Scotland, to their credit, bowled well. Joshua Davey, 2 for 57. Gavin Hamilton, 4 for 51. Sharif, 2 for 60. And Gouldy, 1 for 57. But John Blaine does deserve mention, none for 49. Very economical in his spell. So very decent scored in the Netherlands post. But Scotland were up to the task. They batted well, with Callum McLeod bringing up a century, 26 of 108. 21 fours and a 6. Matt Machan, 53 of 54. And Momsen 30 off 34. So a tough day for the Dutch bowlers. Van der Merwe 2 for 50. 1 wicket apiece for Jonkman, Stelling, and Lefebvre. I don't know how to pronounce his name. But we will go into the partnerships in the big one. 134 to set up the platform for the whole chase. And you always felt that the Scotland side were just always ahead of the run rate. They were just doing a very good job. They, in the end, were just too good and for the Netherlands. So yeah, as you can see, just the worms never intertwined when Scotland got in front. Around about the 7th over, we'll say. And very well played. Scotland will go to 4 wins on the table. Netherlands will drop to 3 and 3. And what will be an interesting battle, and Ireland's first real big tests of the competition. They are currently 4 and 1. Ireland ahead of England on the table, and but Ireland have played all the teams that they were expected to beat, and they did drop a game in just recent times. But let's see how this match plays out. We have got the standings where England desperately need a win to just get closer to Ireland and then push for a higher place in this World Cup. So without further ado, guys, let's get to the teams. England team's going to be introducing some other great players from the eras gone by, but we'll start off with the order and work our way to some of the players that you haven't seen in this tournament yet. Bairstow and Ian Bell opening up the batting. Joe Root and Kevin Peterson, your 3 and 4. Jonathan Trott rounds out a good 3-4-5 for England. Owen Morgan at 6, and he'll be looking to accelerate the innings towards the back end of the England run chase for setting a total. We're going to give Paul Collingwood a game today. Paul Collingwood, very respected one-day cricketer for England. 26 50s, 500s, average of 35.36, which was very respectful. High score of 120. And he took 111 wickets at 38.68 and took 6 for 31 in one innings. And in the comedy rate under 5 per over, Paul does deserve a shot in this all-time great series. Got Ian Botham and Swan. So we've got 3 all-rounders England are playing today, and Joe Root can bowl a bit as well. We've picked a guy that played for England in the 70s and very early 80s, and Chris Old. So Chris Old pretty much took 45 wickets, an average of 22.2, and deserves a wee bit of a go today with Darren Gough rounding up the team there. So England be looking to extrapolate a bit of swing out of the pitch. It is a seamers pitch today. But let's get to the Ireland team, who will be just as competitive. So here are the Irish. The Irish are playing a pretty familiar looking lineup. The team that dominated late 2000s and the 2010s and caused a lot of upsets. Can they upset England like they did in the 2011 World Cup, as mentioned in the preview? Ed Joyce and Paul Stirling will open up the batting. Balbirnie at 3. Porterfield batting at 4. Wee bit of a shuffle there. Niall O'Brien and Kevin O'Brien 5 and 6. Alex Cusack at 7. Trent Johnston at 8. George Dockrell, who hasn't had too many opportunities in this competition, batting at 9. Tim Murtagh and Boyd Rankin are your opening bowlers for Ireland. So this could be an interesting game. Let's see how the two teams flare. Without further ado, let's get to the result. England won a pretty tough encounter. They win by 44 runs, so well played to the England side. England batting first, posting 287 for 8, with Ian Bell 76 off 78, 10 fours and a 6. Joe Root 90 off 103, 15 boundaries. Kevin Peterson 52 off 45. They were looking quite good there for a while, England. Then it fell away a wee bit towards the back end of the innings. And only getting 277 for 8, they would have been a wee bit worried in this game. Ireland, to their credit, bowled reasonably well. 4 for 53 for Tim Murtagh. 2 for 62 for Boyd Rankin. Cusack and Johnson were very economical. George Dockrell getting a wicket along with Trent Johnston there. So with the run chase in mind, let's see what Ireland did. 243 all out. They got a solid partnership, but they just lost 3 wickets at 124 and then a fifth at 130, 6 at 138. They lost effectively 5 wickets for 14 runs. It just changed the whole game. Stirling 64 off 90, 9 boundaries. Balbirnie 62 off 65, 9 fours and a 6. Good fight towards the end though. Trent Johnson 49 off 50. Dockrell 19 off 16, 70 off 8 for Murtagh, but they just lost their way when they looked like they could cause a massive boil over. Darren Gough 6 for 41. Chris Old 2 for 24. Economical 2.4 per over was brilliant. And yeah, very good win for the England side, and Ireland will lose another game. Both the UAE and Afghanistan, both near the bottom of the table, both desperately searching for another win in this all-time greats cricket World Cup, just to showcase that they have got some talent that can take on most teams. So both have 1 win and 4 losses in the campaign. UAE at home, though, it is a spin track, so both teams have loaded their teams up with spinners. Without further ado, let's get the United Arab Emirates side in this match preview. So the United Arab Emirates, a pretty familiar looking team now. Anwar and Ali opening up the batting. Karim Khan at 4, one of the key players. He's been in good form in this tournament. We've got Usman and Shazad at 3 and 5. So 3, 4 and 5 really solid for the UAE. And then we've got pretty much Shazad, Mohammad Shazad, played a little bit for the UAE in the 2010s. Not a bad wee player. Get a wee bit of a run here today. Mustafa at 7, sort of bowled a wee bit of off spin as well. Then you got your seeming opening pair of Naveed and Guruj. And then Raza and Helder make up quite a formidable spin options for the United Arab Emirates. So that's a pretty interesting team. Like, they are a chance at home against Afghanistan, who will be looking for a win themselves. Afghanistan have got a bit of a shaky batting lineup, so a wee bit of an opportunity for United Arab Emirates, but it's their bowling that is sort of going to be maybe the difference between the two sides today. We've got Shazad and Ghani opening up the batting today. Shah at 3, Shahidi at 4, Zadarin at 5, Stanek Zai at 6 and captain. Muhammad Nabi, with all his experience around the road with Sheikh Khan, 7 and 8, will be looking to be the key pillars in this team today. Mujibur Rahman pretty much is a good option to have as well. So 3 world-class spinners. We've got the very exciting Al Haq at 10 and Hamid Hassan, the Viral Express Afghan bowler, making up the team today. This will be an interesting game. It'll be interesting to see who takes the result in this game. And a pretty convincing performance from Afghanistan. So the batting did turn up today. They did bowl reasonably well as well. UAE getting to 265 for 8. 50s to Anwar Ali and Khan in that batting order. And Khan put on a bit of fireworks, actually. 11 fours and 1 6 towards the back end of the innings. Partnerships were good at the first and second wicket and fourth wicket as well. So they did bat really well, the United Arab Emirates, today. For the Afghanistan bowling unit, Muhammad Nabi 5 for 68, took regular wickets. He sort of took the key wickets of Khan and Ali, and Rashid Khan 1 for 32, very economical. Al Haq 2 for 44 there. Everyone doing a reasonably tidy job in that bowling unit. But yeah, the UAE probably felt they probably could have scored a wee bit more, but all in all, a pretty good effort with the bat. But it was the class of Ghani, 70 off 84, 6 fours and a 6, and Shah, very close to 100, 98 of 100, 15 boundaries, and Zadarin, 51 there, that got Afghanistan home. Like the partnerships for the second wicket and the unbroken stand were the key differences in this game. 1 wicket apiece for Garouj and Shahzad. Mustafa 2 for 36. But yeah, quite a convincing performance. Like you can see the run rate when Afghanistan got off to a bit of a flyer. They never looked back. They were never behind in this game. They do deserve to win here, and they do, more importantly, pick up another win in the table. Next game on the all-time grades. A lot of games based in Asia in this episode, and a lot of spin tracks on offer. Bangladesh taking on Sri Lanka. Bangladesh will fancy their chances after what both the Netherlands and Scotland did against Sri Lanka, so definitely looking to pick up the wins here at Bangladesh. Sri Lanka are looking to continue on a recent good patch of form and will want to continue to move up the table. So two interesting teams and a very interesting predicament on the table. We have Sri Lanka with 2 wins and 3 losses, and Bangladesh in the same position. So someone's going to move in front going into this game. So without further ado, let's get to the team. Wee bit of a shuffle for the Bangladesh side today. Pretty good lineup too. Tamim Iqbal opening up with Lilton Das. Saka at 3. Mushfiqur and Shakib at 4 and 5. And they've scored a lot of runs between them over the years. Be looking for that again. Nafees at 6. Mahmudullah at 7. So the all-round option there. We've got Mushrafi and Murtaza and Rahman opening up the bowling, giving Razak the opportunity with Rubiel Hussain. So a bit of spin and a lot going for the Bangladesh side, taking on Sri Lanka, which will be quite a good game here, actually. Let's look at the Sri Lankans. Sri Lanka have got a fairly solid lineup today. They will be opening up with Marvin Adapadu and Sanath Jayasuriya. So they offer quite wealth of experience at the top. Tilakaratne Dulshan at 3, and he won't be captain. It'll be pretty much Kumar Sangakkara. 4, and Mahela Jayawardene at 5. Look at the experience at the top of the order. Like, all these players were well utilised by Sri Lanka. And we've got Aravinda De Silva at 7. Maharoof opening up with Malinga. So, very much relying on their spin options today of Mendes, Muralitharan and Jayasuriya. And they've got Matthews and Aravinda De Silva to get through some options there. This will be a cracking game. Without further ado, let's get into the result. And it's Sri Lanka in a high-scoring game, winning this game in comprehensive fashion. It's a high-scoring game with Bangladesh 333 for 8, with Tamim Iqbal 64 of 53, 12 boundaries. Mushfiqur Rahim 67 of 92, 7 boundaries there. But the star of the show, Mahmudullah with 109 of 52 deliveries, hitting Sri Lanka to all parts. 19 fours and a 6 in that innings. The partnerships were good for Bangladesh. With a couple of 50-run stands in the first and fifth wicket. The 102-run stand with Rahim and Mahmudullah accelerating the innings. And a good 43 towards the back end of that innings here. Got them through to 3-3-3 for 8. For the Sri Lankans, 3 for 39 for Sanath Jayasuriya. 256 for Mendes. Muralitharan, tough day at the office. 1 for 84. Who would have thought the mystery spinner Muralitharan would have went for that many runs. And they would have been a bit worried, Sri Lanka, but a classy run chase with Marvin Adapadu and Tilakaratne Dulshan, big centuries, and a dominant display with the bat. 169 for Adapadu, 24s and 5-6s. Tilakarani Dilshan, 130 of 121, 14 4s and 2 6s. Kumar Sangakkara keeps accelerating along towards the end there. But really nothing to write home about for the Bangladesh bowling unit. Rahman bowled quite good. Murtaza, awful day at the office, 1 for 94. But yeah, no one could contain, and a very convincing result. One of the bigger run partnerships in the competition, 269 there. But yeah, it was quite interesting. The Sri Lankans, as soon as they got to around the 30th over, they were around the same as Bangladesh at that point. They went at a quicker rate and got a well-deserved result. Really good high-scoring game. Thought there would have been a few more wickets taken there, but Sri Lanka starting to get some momentum in this competition and very well played. Australia and Zimbabwe are next up in this video, guys. Australia wanting to continue a reasonable tournament that they've had so far, with Australia pretty much in second position on the table at the moment with 4 wins and 1 loss. Zimbabwe are not having a bad tournament themselves, 2 wins and 3 losses, but a tough task away from home against the Australians. Without further ado, we'll be really looking forward to showing you these all-time great teams. So just rotating a few of the Australians around again, guys. We've got Matty Hayden opening up with Adam Gilchrist, Ponting and Clark at 3 and 4. Michael Clark not getting too many opportunities in the competition, but he has a very good record. 58 50s, 800s, an average of 44.59. And of course, has won a Cricket World Cup or 2 as well. So Michael Clark deserving of a spot in the series. Hussey and Bevan, 5 and 6. Glenn Maxwell at 7. Glenn Maxwell, a bit of a surprise pick, but we're giving another all-rounder a go, and Glenn Maxwell has had a pretty good career. He's still got unfinished business for Australia. 22 50s, 200s, average 34.36. Can turn the arm over a wee bit. He'll be looking to probably share the overs with probably Michael Clark and Michael Bevan. We've gone with Mitchell Starc at 8. Shane Warne at 9. The wild thing, Shaun Tate getting a bit of a run. Remembered his career, 62 wickets at 23.56, 35 one-day internationals for Shaun Tate. And we've got Glenn McGrath opening up with him as well. So, a pretty good Australian lineup. Let's look at the Zimbabweans, shall we? Zimbabwe have gone for a very in-depth batting lineup for this game. We've got Grant Flower and Alistair Campbell at opening the batting. 2 very respected cricketers. Taylor at 3, Flower at 4, and Tatenda Taibu at 5. So really solid 3, 4, and 5 for Zimbabwe with a lot of experience there. 2 modern-day players, Sikandar Raza and Williams. They'll bowl a few overs as well and have very decent averages with the bat. Heath Streak, one of the best Zimbabwe all-rounders to have played the game. Average of 28.29 there and 239 wickets at 29.83. We're giving Guy Whittle a game here. So Guy Whittle, very useful lower order batsman, 1150s, an average of 22.5, 483 his highest score. 88 wickets at 39.56. He was just a handy player to have in the team back in the day. Graham Creamer, the spinner at 10, and Chitara at 11, making up the lineup. Conditions are perfect, good batting surface. Let's see how this match ends up. So Australia won a pretty hard-fought game, actually. Zimbabwe getting a very good score in 299 for 6. With Flower 57 off 69, 8 boundaries. Taylor 77 off 85, and Andy Flower 61 off 60. Williams and Streak finished things quite strong there. Glenn McGrath 2 for 48, 2 for 56 for Mitchell Starc, and 1 fizz for Tate and Maxwell. Surprised that we didn't see Michael Clark bowl and we saw Matthew Hayden bowl instead. Matthew Hayden is not renowned for his bowling. Took 10 wickets in his whole career and bowled only 3 one-day international overs his entire career. So, bit of a surprise there. The partnerships for Zimbabwe, 100 exact between Taylor and Flower and 56 between Williams and Street, got them through to a decent score. Australia in reply with Matthew Hayden, 163 of 134 balls, 23 fours, 2 sixes. And Michael Bevan, the great chaser he is, 68 of 63, 10 fours and a 6. And Glenn Maxwell, 6 off 1 delivery to end the game there. A decent performance for the Zimbabweans. They're outgunned. Their bowling sort of didn't really contain. One for 57 for Chitara, one for 53 for Streak. Williams 2 for 52 and Creamer 1 for 43. And what was quite a comfortable win for Australia. And then they were tested. Two 100-run stands sort of guided the team home there. But overall, pretty entertaining game. Australia moved to 5-1 on the table. One of the games of the episode, New Zealand taking on the West Indies, New Zealand at home. Both have got star-studded players, both 5-star units effectively. Just going by the draw at the moment, New Zealand are in third, and the West Indies have had a pretty disappointing campaign so far. So they'll be looking to get a result here and definitely move from the position of 2 wins and 3 losses. Do you think the West Indies would have done a lot better? But without further ado, they've got a chance for redemption in this game. So New Zealand's team has a very familiar player in the lineup. Glenn Turner, one of the best first-class players of all time. 148 50s, 100 300s. But he had a pretty good 50-over career for New Zealand. 9 50s and 300s in his career. Strike rate's a wee bit low, but it was the era that he played in. High score of 171. So really much looking forward to seeing how Glenn Turner plays in this particular game. He's opening up with Martin Guptill, Kane Williamson 3, Taylor 4, Martin Crowe 5. That is New Zealand's best 3-4-5. Brendan McCullum playing the role of a finisher today. He's batting at 6. Chris Cairns at 7. Both very good disruptive hitters, can hit and clear the fence at ease. Chris Cairns can also bowl quite a bit as well. 201 wickets at 32.81. Richard Hadley at 8. He'll open up the bowling with Shane Brond. And Dan Vittori at 9 as their spinner for New Zealand. And Chris Pringle getting a game today. So Chris Pringle played in the early 90s and the mid-90s, actually. He wasn't a bad wee cricketer, actually. Sort of 103 wickets at 23.87. 5 for 45 is best. And could swing the ball quite a bit. So very solid-looking New Zealand side today. And we'll now be looking at the star-studded West Indian lineup. So this is our team for today's game for the West Indies. So the West Indies have got a good lineup as well. Gale and Haynes opening up the batting. Viv Richards, Brian Lara and Clive Lloyd 3, 4 and 5. Some stellar names there. Like Viv Richards was so far ahead of his time. Like that strike rate of 91 in his era was brilliant. He would thrive in T20 cricket today. Shai Hope getting a game at 6. Shai Hope definitely deserves selection. He is already a prolific run scorer for these guys. 1950s, 1000s. Carl Hooper at 7 just gives them really solid all-round option. And then it's the bowlers. Andy Roberts, Joel Gardner, Michael Holding, and Colin Croft getting a game today. So Colin Croft was another exponent from the 80s. Late 70s, early 80s, sorry. 30 wickets at 20.67, 1 5-wicket bag. But he deserves a shot today in this game. So this is going to be a classic game. Who's going to take it out? We will find out. And it's the West Indies winning this game. So the West Indies get the win over New Zealand away from home. 248 the West Indies post with Chris Gale, the solid rock, and a very pivotal knock on that. 105 of 121, 11 fours, 2 sixes. Next top score was Clive Lloyd, 32. So this shows New Zealand bowled well. Chris Pringle, 4 for 38. 4 for 37 for Richard Hadley there. But you can see Chris Gale batted as deep as he could. He was a stable figure. They were 202 for 4, the West Indies too. They were in a very solid spot. The partnerships for the first 4 wickets were good. And then that just fell apart towards the back end there. But yeah, New Zealand in response, 167 all out. They were ripped apart by the part-time spin of Carl Hooper, 6 for 28. Gardner and Roberts 2 wickets apiece. Michael Holding was economical. Colin Croft didn't bowl too badly either. But only Martin Crowe and Brendan McCullum got going there. With McCullum 59 not out at the end. 6 fours and a 6. Martin Crowe 2 short of a 50. But that's a shock to loss for New Zealand. The West Indies have shown that they're not going to be pushovers in this tournament. Very hard to call this game between South Africa and India. Like, again, another hard match. Could go either way. South Africa at home, though, it's slight favourites. But both teams littered with talent. This is the final game of the round, so both teams do need to pick up a win. Just to give you guys the standings. Hopefully, if my computer will... No, we'll just show it at the end of the episode. That's what we'll do. So without further ado, guys, let's go to the South African and India all-time great teams. So a pretty good South African team on paper. Hashim Amla opening up the batting with Gary Kirsten. We've got Hansi Cronje. Really good career. 39 50s, 200s, average of 38.65. He was tarnished a wee bit by his match fixing scanner, but putting that aside, his career for South Africa during the 90s was quite good. And just we were going to respect his career, and that is good enough for an all-time great. So he can bowl a wee bit as well, which is handy for South Africa. We've got Faf du Plessis at 4, AB de Villiers at 5, Quinton de Kock at 6. They've got a classy all-round lineup with Klusener and Pollock. Both averaging very good numbers with the bat and ball. Dale Steyn and Alan Donald open up the bowling. And we've got Mr. Wafani de Villiers. Not a bad cricketer to bring in to a pretty stacked lineup. So that's the South Africans. Let's get to the India side. So the Indian side is interesting because it is a surface that's going to get a lot of bounce in that. So they've gone with a more seam-based lineup, India. Got Ravinder Sehwag opening up with Rohit Sharma, Rahul Dravid the wall at 3, and Sachin Tendulkar at 4. Virat Kohli batting in an unusual position of 5 for this game. Mahendra Singh Dhoni at 6. Jadeja will get through a wee bit of overs of spin. Here we look to combine maybe with Tendulkar and Sehwag there. Kapil Dev, Srinath, Shami and Bumrah combining for a very formidable seam attack. All the guys averaging under 28.1, so that's really nice for India. This will be a really good game. It'll be very interesting to see who takes the result of this game. And it will be South Africa in a thriller, winning by 2 wickets. So India will be kicking themselves there. They probably could have got a bit more with the bat. Pretty much everyone contributing nicely there with 52 off 81 for Sehwag, very un-Sehwag-like. 64 off 87 for Sharma, 91 off 74 for Rahul Dravid, the Master Blaster Dravid. Showing Sehwag and Sharma how it's done. That should be the other way round. But yeah, 450s in that inning. Virat Kohli finishing it off quite strongly. The South Africans bowled quite well. Pollock 1 for 39, de Villiers 1 for 35. Dale Steyn 8 overs, none for 84. Got absolutely blitzed. Partnerships were good for India throughout. 106 for the first wicket, 99 for the third, and 68 unbeaten for the fourth. Just wasn't enough, but a really thrilling game of cricket. Kirsten 99 of 113, 17 boundaries. But the blitz home was brilliant from South Africa. 25 of 8 deliveries for Quinton de Kock, 2 4s, 2 6s. Klusener 47 of 36, 10 boundaries. India were right in the game throughout that run chase. So South Africa's deep batting lineup getting them home. Jadeja 3 for 68, Kapil Dev 2 for 41, 2 for 52 for Bumrah. And India felt that game would have slipped away from them. It's a good win for South Africa, and India have been inflicted another loss. So after that thrilling round of cricket, guys, these are the standings with Pakistan unbeaten in the competition, 6 wins from 6. You got Australia in a very good position as well, 5 wins and a loss and 15 points. We've got a few teams on 12 points now, New Zealand, Scotland, South Africa and Ireland. Expect Scotland and Ireland maybe move down the ladder a wee bit. Then we've got the teams 3 and 3, the West Indies, Sri Lanka, the Netherlands and England all on 9 points. Very surprising to see India as low as they are. They're on 11 points. They should have beaten South Africa in today's episode. Bangladesh, Zimbabwe, Afghanistan all tied with them on 6. UAE with the one solid win on 3, and Oman languishing at the bottom of the table on no points there. But hopefully you guys enjoyed today's all-time greats episode. Smash the like button, share with a friend, and we will see you next time.